Hello, everyone. My name is Arun, and I'm back with another video. And today we are going to cover something very interesting in the series of data, of course. And this is related to the previous one, but in a little deeper. Uh, but yes, I would recommend for all the solutions architect. We are not doing the data engineering, but these are something that we need to understand. So what is this? This is semantic model. I tried to explain in a very simple way. I tried to explain what it is, why it is. Oh, I'll cover that in agenda and you can easily relate. It's a very important video for all my solutions architect. So this is the agenda for today. The very first is what is semantic model? Why do we use it? What purpose it solves? And the use cases to understand all that learning. And of course, once we know what it is, what purpose it solves, how can we use it is the question. So how do we use it? We'll talk about that. And yes, it's OLAP. In previous couple of videos, we talked about OLAP. So we'll try to see how it relates with the OLAP. Where does it fit in the ETL or ELT? So it's a complete package of understanding semantic model. So what is a semantic model? Well, semantic model is an intermediary or abstracted layer between the raw data and the end users. As you can see, it's a very basic diagram. Here is the semantic layer, and here is the reporting. Here is the data warehouse. All the data is coming here, and there is a semantic layer, and here is a reporting. Abstraction layer is here. Semantic model, we have created calculation relationships so that these folks can easily see what is happening. What is this data is all about? So it provides a business friendly view of the data to the end users. So this model often represents data in terms of business entities like customers, products, sales, and their relationships, making it easier for non-technical users to understand and interact with the data. Because you can understand the people in suits, they are not technical. They need not to know T-SQL or other query running languages. So that's why this model helps them, because they are non-technical people and their time is also very important, right? They're running the businesses, not the IT. But of course, IT is running the business. Both are connected to each other. There's a wonderful relationship between each other, but we're not talking about that. Uh, so yes, this is the solution for the non-technical people to understand what is happening in their business. All right. So if it doesn't make any sense as of now, so let's take an example or analogy. It's a hypothetical scenario. Let's suppose you have a massive, messy toy box, because I have a 3-year-old. So I have that box. So inside there are like action figures, Lego sets, puzzle pieces, board games, and many more toys mixed up together. Parents can easily understand. They all have that boxes, all the toys are inside it, and when she cries because she need that particular toy and you cannot find it out, of course you need a guidebook. Something like that. So stay with me. If you want to play with a specific toy, it happens all the time with the 3-year-old. It's challenging to find its parts and understand how to use them. Now imagine if you have a guidebook. This guidebook doesn't just list the toys, but also explain how they relate to each other and how you can use them. For instance, it tells you that the Lego sets are for building, the puzzle piece for the picture of dragon, and the board games are for a group play. The guidebook makes everything clear and connected. That guidebook is, my friend, your semantic model in the data world, of course. I hope this make a little sense. uh, Semantic model, or it will start making sense now what it is doing. So semantic model is a conceptual model that describes the meaning of the data elements it contains. Organizations often have their own terms for things. Consider this to understand semantic. This is another example trying to explain to understand the semantic. So any organization have their own terms of for things, sometimes with synonyms or even different meanings for the same term. For example, an inventory database might track a piece of equipment with an asset ID and a serial number, but a sales database might refer to the serial number as the asset ID. There is no simple way to relate these values without a model that describes that relationship. So semantic model provides a level of abstraction over the database schema so that users don't need to know the underlying data structure, who is calling what. This makes it easier for end user to query data without performing aggregates and joins over the underlying schema. Also, usually columns are renamed to more user-friendly names so that the context and the meaning of the data are more obvious. And the semantic modeling is predominantly used for read-heavy scenarios. You can easily understand what is happening here. We are trying to analyze, we are trying to find, we are trying to uh, using the BI tools. So it's more like read heavy scenarios such as analytics and business intelligence, as opposed to write heavy, like OLTP we talked about in the previous video. And traditionally, the semantic layer is placed over a data warehouse for these reasons. Okay. It's not like this is the only way, this is how it was placed traditionally. So I hope now we have some idea what is traditional, what is semantic model. Or if you like, I could say once again, at its core, a semantic model is a map or guidebook for data. It gives meaning to raw data, explaining how different data pieces relate and providing a consistent way to access it. It can also change the names. Like, I'll give you another example once we understand the different aspects of semantic model. Till now, I hope you're with me. And it's time to understand it better or in deeper, because we have some idea of semantic model now. So why do we use it? Well, we use it because it helps users understand complex data sources. Because there is an abstraction layer, you need not to know all the columns and sources or data schema and anything. There is a scheme, there is a this semantic model in between, which has all that information easily available for you, all that connections, right? So clarity, and it ensures everyone interprets the data in the same way, because it will call everything in a consistent way. uh, Pick anything, product ID or name of the source, it will call name of the source to everything. It doesn't matter if the sales database call it something, or product database call it something, or user database call it something. And then accessibility, even those without technical knowledge can fetch data using simple terms. You don't need an IT guy sitting there to run queries for you and give you all the information. What purpose does it solve? That's the another thing. Well, unified view combines data from multiple sources into a single comprehensible model. Data integrity provides a consistent definition for data elements, transforms technical data into business friendly terms. Now, let's see what is there in the next slide to understand it further. As of now, I think we are good with what is semantic model, why do we use it, and what is the purpose it solves. So let's see the use cases and how do we use it. So I took two simple use cases like retail business and healthcare so that we can easily relate with them. So if you talk about retail business, a company might have data on sales, customer feedback, and inventory. A semantic model can link these, allowing a manager to easily see which products are selling well but have negative feedback, indicating potential issues. Right? Let me let me highlight something. Allowing a manager to easily see. Manager is not a technical guy who is running technical queries, right? But there is a relationship set up by the semantic model between customer feedback, sales, and inventory. So it would be easy for manager to figure it out. Now, healthcare. Hospitals have patient records, treatment plans, and billing information. And a semantic model can provide a holistic view of patient's journey, ensuring better care and accurate billing. Right? Again, we understand the hospital folks are not the technical guy, but if all that data, if the semantic model is developed well, relating all that data, providing all that information for a non-technical guy, user friendly, then they can easily figure it out, right? Now, how do we use it? Well, the very first is there's a couple of things I also wanted to mention. Maybe I'll mention later in this one. Establishing how different data elements connect. For instance, how a customer's ID in one database relates to their order history in another, defining a relationship, right? Then setting business terms, translating technical jargons into understandable terms. For example, fiscal Q4 revenue might translate to money earned in the last 3 months of the year. See, that's what I was talking about. They might call some technical jargon, but you can change the name as friendly as possible. Right. And then querying data. With tools that use semantic models like BI tools, user can fetch data using plain language, for example, asking how many products did we sell last December instead of writing a complex database query. So how do we use it? We can define the relationship. That's what the feature, that's why we use the semantic model. It can help to set in the business terms because we can provide the name which is relevant to the non-tech users who doesn't care about the technical jargon or the database schema. Then querying the data like through the BI tools or the business intelligence tools. And of course, we can talk about like ensuring that business metrics are calculated the same way regardless of the report or analyst, the consistency we talked about. And it can provide an additional layer of data security, ensuring that users only see the data they are permitted to. So that's how we could use semantic model. Now it's time to hook it up with OLAP or to understand how it is connected with the OLAP. But before that, let me conclude this one a little bit before we start relating with the OLAP. In conclusion, a semantic model is like a translator and a guide for your data. It makes data understandable, accessible, and usable, ensuring that everyone from tech gurus to business professionals can derive value from it. I think that's a wonderful conclusion. But I could also give another use case to understand it better. I hope I'm not extending too much time, but let's try this. Because I want the motive of this video is to understand it. So let me try it again. An organization has data stored in large database. That happens all the time, right? It wants to make this data available to business users and customers to create their own reports and do some analysis, right? This is the problem statement. So how can we solve it? The one option is just to give those users direct access to the database. Sounds not welcoming. I agree. So first option, giving direct access to databases. Not good. However, there are several drawbacks to doing this, including managing security and controlling access. That's why not a good idea. Also, the design of the database, including the name of the tables and columns, may be hard for a user to understand. Told you. Users would need to know which tables to query, how those tables should be joined, and other business logic that must be applied to get the correct results. Users would also need to know query language. That's These are things I always keep on talking to the entire video, but in the end, along with the conclusion, doing it again just to make it clear. So typically this leads to multiple users reporting the same metrics but with different results. And another option is to encapsulate all of the information that users need into a semantic model. The semantic model can be more easily queried by users with the reporting tool of their choice. The data provided by the semantic model is pulled from the data warehouse, ensuring that all the users see a single version of the truth. The semantic model also provides friendly table and column names, relationship between tables, description, calculation, and row level security. Now, I've explained many times, and now I think it's good to go. We can go and relate it with the OLAP. You can find the connection, the connection. So to understand the relationship between semantic model and OLAP, we keep on talking about the semantic model a lot. OLAP we covered in the previous video. Just to refresh, it's online analytic processing. It's like a super powered calculator for data. OLAP allows users to explore data from various angles and levels of detail through processes like drilling down into data or rolling it up into summaries. So how do they relate? All right. Let's take this point, understanding the data. Before you can analyze data with OLAP, okay, you need to understand it. There is where the semantic model comes in. Before analyzing, you need to understand what we are analyzing, how they are connected to each other, what it is. So it lays out the relationship between data elements and translate them into terms users understand. So when a user wants to dive deep into OLAP Cube to analyze sales data for a specific region, they can do so without getting lost in technical jargon, thanks to semantic model. Now, let's take another point, building OLAP cubes. An OLAP cube is a multi-dimensional array of data that allow for complex analysis, right? To build this cube, you need to know how different data elements relate, which is information provided by the, if you're guessing semantic model, you are correct. For instance, how does product category relate to sales? How does time fit in? The semantic model will clarify these relations. Now, unified view. OLAP often involves pulling data from various sources. We all know that data ingestion. The semantic model ensures that all this data speaks the same language. Whether you are getting data from CRM system or an inventory database, or the semantic model ensures it's presented consistently to the in the OLAP cube. For example, one says USA, one says United States of America, one says America. No, they all will say the same thing. Enhanced user experience. One of the primary benefits of OLAP is the ability of users, often business professionals, to analyze data without diving into the technicalities. The semantic model enhances this experience by providing a user-friendly layer on the top of the data. Users can query OLAP system using familiar business terms, not database jargons. So it is in between. You get it? Yes. We'll also cover that in ETL and ELT. Let's see your guess is correct or not there. Now, the last one is consistency in analysis. Because the semantic model provides a consistent definition of data elements, it ensures that OLAP analysis are accurate and uniform across the board. Whether one department is analyzing sales and another is looking at customer feedback, they are both working with a consistent understanding of the data. So in conclusion, semantic modeling and OLAP are like two sides of the same coin in the data analysis world. While the semantic model provides clarity and context to the data, OLAP offers the tools to analyze the data from multiple perspectives. Together, they ensure that business can derive meaningful insights from their data efficiently and accurately. Now it's time to see ETL and ELT and the semantic model where it fits. ELT is extract, transform, and load, and ELT is extract, load, and transform. Right? Extract is data is extracted from various source system. Transform is data is transformed into desired format or structure. This can include cleaning, enriching, and restructuring the data. Load is transformed data is loaded into data warehouse or data lake. Well, if it is ELT, it usually data lake. If it is ETL, it usually data warehouse. Now, where the semantic model fits. After the data is stored in the data warehouse or data lake, a semantic model is developed on the basis of data. This model provides a layer that translates the technical schema of the data into business-friendly view. It defines relationship, hierarchies, measures, and other aspects that make the data comprehensible and user-friendly for business users. Just stay with me. I said it defines relationships, hierarchies, and measures and other aspects that make the data comprehensible and user-friendly for business users. If you have seen the previous video of OLAP, you can easily connect the dots. If I could show you right now, let me take you through the old slide if I have there. If I could show. Where was that? Maybe you need to go through the video. I'm sorry, I just tried to show you, but I couldn't find it. Don't want to make this video very big. So I'm back to here. I've explained all these things in the previous video. All right. So once the semantic model is in place, OLAP tools can leverage it to create multi-dimensional cubes or similar structures that allow for efficient querying and analysis. The semantic model helps in building these OLAP structure and ensures that even that when user query or analyze the data, they do so in business terms and the underlying system fetches the correct data, consistent data. So where the business tools are getting working upon the semantic model, it's not necessarily true like always. Sometimes they did not do, but it is always there to make it. It's abstraction layer, right? It make it user friendly. So I hope it was helpful and informative. Thank you for watching, and you guys have one.